separately excited and shunt DC motor. In last lecture we discussed that depending upon how field winding is connected, we classify motors into 5 types. We have separately excited motor, we have a shunt motor, we have permanent magnet motor, we have series motor, and we have compound motor. In today's lecture we are going to study separately excited and shunt DC motor. Basically we are going to study them together. Let's have a look why. This is an example of a shunt motor. This is armature and this side is field. Where this is terminal voltage VT. This is RA, this is EA, this is R adjustable. This is RF, this is LF. This current is total IL, while this portion is armature current IA, and this portion is field current IF. This is shunt DC motor. What is voltage across these two terminals, armature terminals? VT. What is voltage across field terminals? Same as VT. I can also draw this circuit. If voltage VT is constant, I can draw this circuit. RAEA, this is IA, this is VT. R adjustable, RF, LF. This is VT. What's current here? IF. R adjustable. This is RF. This is LF. Isn't this the equivalent circuit for separately excited DC motor? And this was a circuit for shunt DC motor. Thus a shunt DC motor is equivalent to separately excited DC motor, provided the terminal voltage stays same. This is the reason why we will be studying them together. So whenever we study about the separately excited DC motor, the same physics, the same theory applies to shunt DC motors as well. So let's take it here. Now you have armature on one side, this is RA, this is EA, this current is IA, and on this side we have a field circuit. Where this is VF, this is IF, this is R adjustable. R adjustable means this is a variable resistor, you can change the resistance here. This is RF, this is LF. Fine. What is the KVL equation for the armature circuit? We've discussed this in the earlier class as well. This VT, the voltage that you connect across the terminals, will be equal to voltage induced inside the machine, that is EA, plus this drop, that is IARA. This directly comes from the KVL because this is positive, this is negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, negative and positive. VT is equal to IARA plus EA. We want to study the terminal characteristics of this shunt motor. By terminal characteristics, we basically want to see what happens to the speed of this motor as load on this motor increases. That is terminal characteristics. We want to study the terminal characteristics of this motor. In fact, we have to study terminal characteristics of all the motors and then we will compare the motors. So we basically want to plot what we want to plot what happens to speed of this motor omega or n. Let's call this n, rpm, revolutions per minute, or you can call this omega, radians per second. What happens to speed as T induced changes or T load changes, because load torque is equal to induced torque. We'll derive this from the KVL equation itself. Since we know this Vt is equivalent to EA plus IARA, I would like to get this equation in terms of speed omega and induced torque. So how can I get that? First, I will convert this EA. We know this induced EMF EA is equivalent to K phi omega plus IARA. Also, I can convert this IA in terms of torque, because I know induced torque tau induced is equal to K phi IA. Therefore, this Vt will be equal to K phi omega plus tau induced divided by K phi into Ra. Since Vt is constant, K is constant, let's suppose flux phi is constant, Ra is constant, K is constant, phi is constant. So there are only two variables, one is tau induced and one is omega. That's what I wanted to plot between omega and tau induced. So I can calculate omega from this. I can write this omega is equivalent to Vt divided by K phi, Vt by K phi, this goes there, minus Ra divided by K phi there, this K phi goes down, so this becomes K phi square into tau induced. So this is expression of omega in terms of induced torque. If you compare this, since we have not changed the field voltage Vf, so this If is constant, so flux produced by the field is constant, that is phi is constant, K is constant, Ra is constant, and terminal voltage Vt, we have not changed that, so Vt is constant. If we compare this to the equation of a straight line, where you know y is equivalent to c plus mx, or y equal to mx plus c. Therefore, slope of the curve m is equivalent to its negative minus Ra times Ra divided by K phi square, and intercept is equivalent to Vt divided by K phi. So what does this mean? As x or as tau induced increases, what happens to omega? Does omega increase or omega decreases? slope is negative, so omega decreases with positive intercept. So let's suppose this is intercept. This value is Vt divided by k phi. As tau induced is 0, so this term becomes 0, omega becomes Vt by k phi. So this is the value. As tau induced, omega will keep on decreasing. Why? Because slope is negative, omega will keep on decreasing. Let us suppose this is the rated torque of the machine. Where this is omega, this is induced torque. So as induced torque increases, omega keeps on decreasing. But here what we have assumed that since Ra is constant, Vt is constant, K is, we have assumed flux phi is constant. That is, flux in the machine is constant. But we have studied in earlier lectures that the flux phi in the machine is a function of armature reaction. When flux phi is a function of armature reaction, that also means that flux phi is function of the armature current. And armature current is a function of the induced torque. That means whenever induced torque in the machine changes, armature current changes. When armature current changes, armature reaction changes. When armature reaction changes, flux phi changes. So this expression is not basically the correct expression, because this expression was correct if we assumed flux phi is constant. How can we make flux phi constant even if this induced torque changes? The answer is we have to eliminate the armature reaction. And in the earlier lectures, we have studied how can we eliminate the armature reaction completely. Armature reaction can be eliminated completely by using compensating windings. So that means if you have a machine which has compensating windings, then armature reaction will be 0, because compensating windings will cancel the effect of armature reaction. So flux phi will stay constant. When flux phi stays constant, so this expression holds. But if you have a machine which does not have a compensating windings, in those machines, as torque on the machine increases, as induced torque on the machine increases, current I increases. When current I increases, armature reaction increases. When armature reaction increases, what happens to flux? Flux phi decreases. When flux phi decreases, what happens to speed? Then speed increases. That means in such machines which does not have compensating windings, though there is a decrease in speed as induced torque increases, but it will be like this. It will be a nonlinear curve. So this one is no armature reaction. This one is with armature reaction. I will repeat this. The effect of armature reaction in the machine, whenever the machine has an armature reaction, because of armature reaction, flux phi decreases. We already know this. Because of flux weakening, flux in the machine decreases. When flux in the machine decreases, don't look over here, look at this. When flux phi in the machine decreases, because of decrease in the flux, omega increases. But since torque is increasing, so this term overall will decrease. That means though the speed will decrease, but with armature reaction, the decrease in speed is not much. The decrease in speed is less. The decrease in speed is less with armature reaction. Though flux phi appears here, flux phi appears here, but this flux is the dominant one. This has the dominant role, this flux phi over here. Fine. Okay. So what we have learned till now? Till now what we learned is, as the torque on, as the load torque on the shunt motor increases, induced torque will also increase. Why? Because the two torques have to be equal. Then only machine can run at a constant speed, and then it will attain a steady state condition. As you put more load on the machine, load torque increases, which increases induced torque. Because of increase in induced torque, omega will decrease because this has a negative slope. Fine. But because of armature reaction, there will be a non-linearity induced here. This intercept will not remain a constant, but this will decrease. Intercept will decrease because flux will increase. Sorry, this intercept will increase because flux will. No, sorry. As load on the machine increases, armature reaction increases. When armature reaction increases, because of increase in armature reaction, flux decreases. When flux decreases, so this intercept increases. When this intercept increases, so the curve will not be a linear one going down like this. So this curve will be a non-linear one going down like this. That means though speed do decrease with increase in induced torque, but the decrease is less with the armature reaction. Why? Because this flux is decreasing. When flux is decreasing, this term increases. Now, what are the methods of speed control of DC motor? Methods of speed control. We know speed omega is equivalent to Vt divided by K phi minus Ra divided by K phi square into tau induced. We know about this expression now. There are three methods of speed control. How can we control this speed here? We can control this speed either by controlling this voltage Vt, controlling flux phi, controlling armature resistance Ra. This speed omega can be controlled by controlling three parameters from this equation. You can directly tell this. Either control Vt or control phi or control Ra. By controlling Vt, what you can basically control here. You can either control this Vt terminal voltage, or you can control this Ra armature resistance, or you can control this flux produced by the field phi. How can we control the flux here? How can we control the flux here? We can control flux by controlling the field current IF. Since Vf is constant, how can we control IF? We can control IF by adjusting this resistance R adjustable over here, which I have merged together with the RF, and I together call this as RF. RF is R adjustable plus RF. You can call this RF prime. So we can adjust this field resistance to change this current IF over here. If we decrease our adjustable, field current will increase. If we increase our adjustable, field current will decrease. So first method is adjusting the field resistance RF. That will change the flux. Second is adjusting the terminal voltage VT applied to machine, applied to armature. And these are the two methods that are basically used for speed control. There's a third method which is not used in practice. You can use this in laboratory for showing experiments, but in practice this method is not used. That is inserting a resistor in series with the armature. That is what we do. We insert a resistance here, variable resistance. So equivalently you change this RA. So that is, you adjust the RA. Changing RA, armature resistance. But this is not used. Why? Because this is a very wasteful method. Why is this a wasteful method? If you insert a resistance in series with the armature, if you insert a resistance here in series with the armature, since this whole current will pass through the series resistance that you insert over here, so there will be huge power losses in this. There will be heating in this and there will be power loss in this. So this is a wasteful method. We never go for this inserting resistance over here. Fine. Let's take the first one, adjusting the field resistance. Look what happens. We already know if we, let's suppose, RF is increased, if you increase RF here, if you increase RF, VT is same, LF is same, you increase this R adjustable, you have increased this equivalent resistance in the field. What happens to RF? IF? IF decreases. The result is that IF, field current, decreases. When field current decreases, what happens to flux phi in the machine? Flux phi in the machine decreases. When flux phi in the machine decreases, what happens to EA is equivalent to K phi omega? Since phi decreases, what happens to K phi omega? Decreases. EA decreases. When EA decreases, I will write it here now, we know that VT, terminal voltage, is equivalent to EA plus IARA. Or from this you know IA, armature current, is equivalent to VT minus EA divided by RA. So what happens to IA is equivalent to VT minus EA by RA. Since EA decreases, so this term EA decreases, this term increases, IA increases, so IA increases. When IA increases, what happens to induced torque? As IA increases, what happens to induced torque? K phi IA, it increases. When induced torque K phi IA increases, since load on the motor is constant, we have not changed the load on the motor. Therefore, what happens is tau induced has increased, tau load is same, so induced torque is greater than load torque. When induced torque is greater than the load torque, what happens to speed of machine? There are two forces, say F induced and F load. F induced is more than F load, so machine will accelerate. Similarly here, induced torque is more than load torque, so machine will accelerate. That means speed will increase. That implies omega increases. Now when omega increases, this is what we wanted. We wanted to change the speed. That is, when you increase the RF, your omega increases. But how will this get balanced again? When omega increases, EA equal to K phi omega. K phi omega increases. When EA equal to K phi omega increases, armature current IA equal to VT minus EA by RA. EA increases, so IA decreases. When IA decreases, tau induced is equal to K phi IA decreases. When tau induced K phi IA decreases, such that tau induced again becomes equal to tau load, but at higher speed. What we have shown here is, by adjusting the field resistance RF, we can adjust the speed of the machine for same load. What happened here, as you increase the field resistance RF, field current decreased, so field flux decreased. Field flux decrease means induced EMF decreased. Induced EMF decrease means armature current increases, which increases the induced torque. When induced torque increasing and load torque was constant, so machine accelerated, omega increased. When omega increased, that subsequently increased the EA. When EA increased, so IA decreased. When IA decreased, torque induced decreases, such that induced torque again becomes equal to load torque, but this happens at a higher speed. Now machine is again in steady state. Why? Because torque induced is equal to torque load, but at a higher speed. This is what we basically wanted. We wanted to increase the speed of a machine. This is how we increase the speed of machine. Alternatively, if you want to decrease the speed of machine, you will decrease RF here. If you decrease RF, IF will decrease, phi will increase, EA will increase, IA will decrease, torque will decrease, machine will decelerate, omega will decrease, EA will decrease, IA will increase, torque will increase. Torque again becomes equal to load torque, but at a lower speed. This is how we can adjust the speed of a machine, by adjusting the value of field resistance RF. We'll continue with the speed control of shunt DC motors in next class.